Okay, hi there boys and girls, and welcome back to the channel. Okay, got a couple of games in the KV3 Tier 7 Russian heavy tank. Now, the KV3 is an interesting tank because a lot of people do drive the IS lines, and some of the tanks in the IS lines are good and some of them are just plain bad. Now, the KV3 is actually a pretty good tank. It comes with the option of putting, I think, about 4 different guns on it. So you can very much style the tank as to how you want to play in it. So for example, I'm not a huge fan of big derpy guns that take 15-20 seconds to reload. I think that means you've almost got to play the tank like a tank destroyer, because you can't afford to be pushed on or get into a brawl with it, because you're going to get taken apart because of the long reload. It also means your shot absolutely has to go in, because if it doesn't, you're going to be waiting around a long time before you can do any damage, by which time the other tank could have taken you out. So I tend to, so I've put the faster firing, higher DPM gun on the KV3, and I have to say I enjoyed driving the tank. I didn't drive very many battles in it, maybe only about 10 or 15 I think. But I enjoyed this faster firing gun. It's got good armour if it's angled, as you can see. We just took a bounce from the KV2 there. And because I've got the faster firing gun in it, it does mean that I can get into a bit of face-to-face brawling like this and not have to worry about it too much. You can see I'm keeping my tank angled. I've taken a couple of bounces off this guy, and I'm able to keep pouring in the damage, and we very quickly get him cleared. Now, this game is an interesting one because another aspect I touched on in an earlier video is the team focus firing targets. And what becomes quite evident in this game is that hasn't happened. These guys have all rushed into town, they've all sort of sought out individual fights, and they haven't focus fired targets. So we've got a lot of tanks here that are one-shots. But their guns are still in the game, so they're still pouring in damage. This is why it's important to focus fire, but also get the one-shot tanks cleared. We're 2 tanks down at this point. We're sort of really up against it. Supremacy points is not going well for us. We do have one cap each, but now I'm on my own against 4 tanks, which is going to be a big ask at any time. So how I'm going to sort of go forward with this one is try and get these one-shot tanks cleared and then potentially get a cap on a base. So I've managed to clear up 2 of the guys there, so we're starting to make it look a little bit healthier. However, the red team have decided to stick a cap on A, which means I'm very quickly running out of options here. Now I do have this TD in front of me, so I'm going to try and get this guy cleared whilst getting a cap on B. Then I take a nasty shot from behind, so I know I've got a TD behind me, so I've got to get this gun cleared. And I really am out of options now because this guy's got a full hit point pool. So the only thing I can do with this is I'm going to come around here, I'm going to try and track him as he comes around and get behind him. I don't get the shot on the track there, so I've just got to hope I bounce and get around the back of him so I can stick the gun into the back of his turret. It doesn't come off for me, and I get taken out. Obviously I was left with an awful lot to do at the end there, but yeah, nonetheless 5 kills, not a bad game, and does highlight the aspects and the importance of focus firing. Okay, we've got another game for you now on Faust, another supremacy game in the same tank, the KV3, and again, this is another aspect of gameplay I talked on a little bit later. You're going to see why it's important to maintain good angles on your tank. As I've said, if this tank is angled up correctly, you will take bounces in it. It's got pretty good armour, and in combination with that gun on the front, actually, I did enjoy driving the tank. This particular tank is on the on the IS4 line, which is a tank that I'm looking to get on one of my accounts, and I enjoy driving this. I'm not so hot so far on the KV4 that comes after it. To be fair, I've only played about 2 games in that, so I still need to set that up and have a play with it and see what I can get out of that tank. But yeah, we're okay. We're on Faust here. We've managed to cap a couple of bases. takes a while for the aiming circle to come down this tank, but we do manage to get a shot into the SU there. And we're going to do our best to hopefully get this guy cleared pretty quickly. So that works out okay for us there. Making sure we're now. That's another classic example. These two guys are so focused on trying to get to another target, they've literally driven past a cappable base, which is nuts. So I'm going to get in here, get into this cap, and see if we can make sure that we can pretty much guarantee a win here. Now I'm going to get pushed on here. We're going to stick a shot into the TD, get our first kill, and we've also now capped this base. So the game is looking pretty healthy for us at this time. However, the Reds aren't letting it go, so they're attempting to put a cap on C. And so we're going to try and get pushed onto this Tiger 2. He's isolated himself off. Hopefully I'll get a little bit of assistance from one of my teammates here, and again, this is something that I do always try to do, even when I'm in a brawl situation like this. Try and keep your tank angled. You've got a lot more chance of bouncing a shot like that if you're maintaining good angles on your tank. So, yep. A teammate comes in there and helps put in a bit more damage into that guy, and we've isolated and cleared another target. Now, as you can see, in that short amount of time, the game has changed quite a bit. We're now evened up on tanks. The red team are up on bases, so they've really started to come back into this game. So again, we're going to try and focus fire targets and get individual targets cleared. So we've now gone back to a tank up. We've got a red base here, and here I get myself into a bad position. I've got a tank to my front who's got good armour. He's sticking damage into me. Now I'm trying to maintain good angles here. We've managed to get the cap on the base. I do take a bounce. However, the other red tank is going to make an appearance pretty soon, and he starts putting shells into me. So although I'm taking a couple of bounces because I was angled, I've left myself in a position where the red team can focus fire me. So I want to get out of that position as quickly as possible, which is why I pulled round the corner here. At the end of the day, we have the advantages, so these guys have to push us, so don't make it easy for them. Unfortunately, one of my teammates gets taken out. However, we quickly re-establish a tank lead here, and I'm pretty low in hit points, but just again, it's just focusing on some of the basics of the game. Focus firing targets, maintaining good angles on your tank, and capping available bases when they're there. These are the kinds of things that can win you games when they get into tight situations like this. So we have our last guy here. I'm going to take a long range shot at him and get him cleared for the kill and the win there. So not spectacular damage by any stretch of the imagination, but I do pick up a first class mastery. And yeah, KV3, it's a good tank. Obviously make whatever choice you like with the gun for your style of play, but yeah, it's a good tank along the IS4 line. Okay, our last game is another one of my games in the Löwe, and this was quite interesting because it highlights that you know, if you do follow some of these sort of basic fundamentals, you can get a win out of what was potentially a losing game, and that is what we're going to do here. Now, the Löwe Tier 8 German premium heavy tank, and is a tank that pretty much most people at some point probably do need to put into their garage. For one reason, it has one of the highest earning coefficients in the game. The earning potential with this tank is absolutely great. So, and especially if you're running a premium account, you will make a lot of credits with this tank. The tank itself is also pretty good. It's got good armor. It's got a very accurate gun. And the reload on it isn't too bad either. And if you get this thing into a hold down position, it becomes very, very difficult to pen. So as you can see, the red team are they're taking advantage a little here. They've got two caps. We've got an isolated TD off on the right. We've also got an isolated Chrysler in front of us. Quickly, I want to get this Chrysler isolated, see if we can take him out of the game and re-establish the B cap. And that's what we're going to do. Now, thankfully, one of my teammates can see what I'm doing, and they push forward as well, and they come and help me out with this guy. So very quickly, we managed to keep thumping in the damage into him, and we get him cleared. This is going to allow me to get a cap on B, and hopefully now give us some of the advantages in this game. And as you're about to see, we go from what was a pretty even situation to one that's not looking too good for us. We've gone 2 tanks down. We have established a second cap on B, but we are 2 tanks down here. So I have a quick look at the Ag Panther there. Managed to get a shot into the side of him, and we're now quickly going to have a look at how the rest of our team are doing. Now, T34 is getting himself a bit overextended here, and he does get himself into a little bit of trouble in just a second. So I'm going to go over here and give him a hand. Again, another important aspect of gameplay. Even if you don't necessarily agree with the line that your team are taking, sometimes it's just better to be with your team. It gives you the ability to support each other and a focus fire. T34 has got himself in a terrible position here, so I'm going to drive backwards, give him a nudge, get him back on his tracks. And we're now going to get into it with these red tanks to our front. Now, as you can see, it's getting very close on supremacy points, but we're still 2 tanks down. Keeping good angles on the tank, taking a few more bounces. Now, I really do want this one-shot tank cleared. I'm hoping that will help reset the engagement with regard to cap points. I don't manage to get a shot on him there, but T34 does. So as you can see, we're potentially in a losing position here, but we're now accumulating the cap points. We've got ourselves a nice hull down position here. We can afford to wait because the red team have now got to start pushing us rather than the other way around. As you can see, there is an enemy tank that's attempting to flank around us. So I'm going to get my tank angled up nice and early for when this guy pokes out. He comes out sideways, which allows me to stick a shot straight into him. I've got my tank angled, which means he bounces me. So what I want now is to basically get this guy into a face-hugging situation, because I want his gun pointed at me. I don't want it going into the back of the T-34. And that's what we're going to do. As you can see, even though red tried to reset one of the caps, that early work there actually did get us the win. So we potentially pulled a win there out of what was a losing game, which is why I found that interesting for the point of view of pointing out some basic tactics. Hey boys and girls, thank you very much for watching the videos, and as always, good hunting and bye for now.